Dear Erin, how do I tell another parent that my kid just doesn't want to play with hers anymore? They used to be friends, but her kid was very different than mine, and my kid has told me that they don't want to hang out with the other kid anymore. She keeps asking about playdates, and besides saying we're busy, I haven't had the heart to tell her.
Oh, that's so hard. I've actually experienced this. Kids grow and change, and their interests and likeness grow and change. I mean, if you really think about what's happening when a child is growing, like going from a baby to a kid to a teenager to an adult, like their cells are rapidly regenerating, which means they're becoming exposed and literally a new version of themselves by way of their cells every day. Obviously, this can get tricky, especially because as parents, we identify with who our kids are at different stages in life. If they're playing a certain sport, we might be a hockey mom. If they're not playing, if they might be a part of a science club, we're like, yeah, go science, right? So I think the best thing that somebody could do is just be honest, right? I don't think it needs to be about the other kid. Otherwise, that can create contention, and make it about your own kid. I would say tell that other parent, my kid's into different things right now and doesn't feel like they have as much in common with your kid. So I think we should just pause on play dates for now. And you can just kind of cough it up to being like, kids just do the darndest things, right? To really make it feel like it's not a personal attack against somebody else's kid. Yeah. And then they know, like, I think the worst part is not saying anything, and then you just push it off, and then maybe those kids become friends in the future. Yeah. And then it feels like there's this weird tension between the parents. So I think just being honest, making it about how kids grow and change and just want different things sometimes is the best way to go about it.
Okay. So our last one for Dear Erin today. I get very upset over the news. At various times in my life, I have hyperfixated myself into hopelessness over the state of the world. I feel best when I avoid the news altogether, but understand it takes immense privilege to be able to do this. How do I protect my mental health while not burying myself under a rock?
Yeah, that's tricky.
It's
and
so
what
hard.
but what I hear in the question is balance,
Yeah.
right? Like it's this, I need to be two extremes. I can tell you that I used to watch the news pretty much all the time because I had cable TV. And then I had to cut the cord, and when I moved and all this other kind of stuff, and I don't have exposure to any like classic, Channel 5 or whatever news, and it's been really peaceful for me. What I do love about news from social media is that I can choose what I want to see, right? I can't choose if people post stories and all that kind of stuff, but there's, like news tabs, right? I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on all these things, but I can go on my social media, I can choose to click the news tab and scroll through. Sure. If I want more depth because it's a social media story and maybe not from the most reputable source, I can then go Google it, and I can find more information that's important to me. I think understanding that we should be informed is important, but that's not more important than any person's mental health. Yeah. I always talk about you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And so if your cup is being depleted because of your anxiety or distress around the news, then you're really not doing yourself or anyone any favors for how you could maybe help or make an impact or all those types of things. So for me, it's about balance. And I want to let this person know too that this is super common. I would say that in like general conversations where you're just gathering, kind of even just with strangers or at work events or whatever that is, this is something that's brought up like almost consistently in every conversation. So just know that you're not alone, like trying to gauge and understand. I mean, for me, I grew up with information as power. And so it was really, really hard for me to detach from this information isn't helping me. Yeah. This information is actually harming me. Yeah. And having to kind of detach from that thought process. And I think a lot of other people feel the same. Sure. So finding a balance and figuring out the way that you want your algorithm to work for you. Mine certainly has started working for me. I mostly get, Instagram tells me what to wear now. It doesn't tell me all the crazy things happening in the world, but I do seek it out when I want to be informed, and I choose to keep hard stuff or things like that at a minimum. And so you can pick and choose who you follow to know when you really want to be informed on an issue that feels really important to you, and when you want to go seek the news to decide that you want to be informed on topics that maybe are outside of your normal passions.
Totally. Well, as always, if you have questions to submit, please submit to the email below. Thanks.